This meets that. This meets that. You pick this and I'll pick that. We'll put them together and what do you get? A movie we describe as this meets that. This meets that. Yeah!
Welcome back to another episode of This Meets That, show where we put together two movies and figure out a crazy mashup for a new third movie you would describe as This Meets That.
Whoa!
The theme song pretty much sums it up. I don't know why I have to explain it every single time, but I guess that's just the rules. So, Steve, do you have a movie?
I do, Benjamin.
Good.
Do you?
I don't know. I know I was the one that said, let's have one ready, but then I changed my mind. Did I? Yeah, well, fuck it. We'll do that one.
I can... Is the Jeopardy music copyrighted?
Oh, of course it's gotta be,
okay.
right?
Well, there's a little snippet. I was going to say, I'll do that while you...
No, I got it. Okay. 1, 2, 3. The Fifth
Forrest
Element.
Gump.
The Fifth Element meets Forrest Gump?
Yikes.
Okay.
Now, I've seen The Fifth Element. I don't remember it as well as you, so you might have to guide me through this.
Futuristic world, is prophecy of this evil is coming. You align the four elements with the fifth element, stops the bad guy.
And the fifth element is...
Lilu,
yeah. Mila Jovovich.
Yes. And then you have Gary Oldman being just like big corporate guy that's going to use the evil for, profit. And then Bruce Willis, you're, down on your luck, average Joe, just normal taxi driver, but, he was a hero in the war. So he's got some skills.
The War of 2112?
Sure. I don't know what year it takes place in. Probably 20.
Let's turn it over to our third co-host, Echo. Echo, what year was The Fifth Element set?
This might answer your question. The film The Fifth Element was released about 25 years ago on May 9th, 1997.
Give it a second. What year does The Fifth Element take place in?
According to an Alexa Answers contributor, The Fifth Element starring Bruce Willis and Mila Jovovich was released in 1997.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right. Let's turn it over to our fourth co-host, Google.
Real internet.
Alrighty. This is not important. We can just cut all this.
Yep.
Well, but now I'm curious.
I'm going to say, I think it's every 500 years the evil shows up, and it was like 18 something at the beginning with Luke Perry and Aziz Light and all that.
Aziz Light?
Yeah, there's a little kid named Aziz, and he's holding a reflective surface, and they're doing archaeology, and he's shining it, and then he's falling asleep, and they go, Aziz Light! And he straightens back up. I'm going to say 2307.
Okay. According to Wikipedia, it takes place in the 23rd century, so it'd be somewhere in the 2200s.
Okay.
Somewhere in there.
Cool. Hey, I said 2307. It could be 2298 for all we know. So
let me see if the Wikipedia has a more specific answer. In 1914, aliens known as...
1914.
Yeah. Appears every 5,000 years. So the year is in 2263.
Okay. But you said 1914 and it appears every 5,000 years? Oh, yeah. Okay, never mind. He didn't show up in 1914. They were just securing the key. Got it.
So, yep.
Okay, cool.
2263.
2263.
So
I will be 182 at the time, so that's cool. Let's hope I see it.
You'll look no older than 158, though.
That's good.
Yeah.
Because after that, you really start going downhill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so Fifth Element and Forrest Gump. Okay.
Robert Zemeckis' Forrest Gump, in case there's anything.
Yeah. I think Asylum did like a Jungle Plump or something like that. It was their knockoff.
Do you know what that's about?
Let's see. It's a safari guy.
Is this your real thing, or are you just pitching it?
I'm just pitching it. It's like Teddy Roosevelt time. And he's like a moron, and he is just doing a safari sort of thing. And then he gets like caught up with this crazy tribe of like cannibals or something, a tribe they've never seen before, and they just start plumping him up, getting him fatter and fatter, just so they can eat him.
Okay.
And it's called Jungle Plump.
And okay. Now, does he meet like any famous figures, or like is involved in like, sort of like famous events in history?
That's true. I mean, I guess he could probably run into other famous adventurers that besides like Teddy Roosevelt that I don't know.
But in this, he has arm trouble, so he like wears braces for his arms that gorillas made him, and then instead of run, jungle, run, it's swing jungle, swing. And so he's able to swing through the jungle through the help of his gorilla named Elvis.
Why did the gorillas make him these?
Because they're crafty and know how to use tools.
Like, was this before he gets to the cannibals, or does he escape the cannibals and then gets taken in by the gorilla people? Kind of like when John Wick gets taken in by the homeless people.
Yeah, well, I imagine, his village is attacked when he was very young by the cannibals, and the only reason they kept him alive was, like you said, they wanted to plump him up, so they let him get a little bit older and fed him all this food and all that stuff, and then, maybe these cannibals have also been abusive to the gorillas, because the gorillas are just, big hairy people, so they have kind of a kinship of like, we know what you've been through, kid. Here's some braces for your arms.
Maybe he
got fucked up in the
had
attack.
His arms got broken, so he couldn't escape or whatever. It helps keep him subdued, so they give him braces. Yep.
Gorilla braces, yeah.
Gorilla jungle braces.
And then it's just a trek across the world to experience all the stuff he never experienced, because he didn't know there was anything outside the jungle. And he runs...
Oh, so now our main character is like part of the tribe?
No, I'm saying he leaves the jungle once he's able to swing. And he's able to get away from the cannibals, because he didn't know there was a world out. And he like runs into maybe...
What do you mean he doesn't know about the world outside? So he's part of the tribe?
He's in a separate tribe from the cannibals. There's
see, I just pictured him as like a white adventurer guy with the stupid hat.
No, he runs into some pretty white lady who shows him the world, and that's how he gets involved in all these wacky antics in society, because she opened his eyes and he opened his arms.
I thought you were going to go a different way with that. That sounds awful. I hate all this. Let's do our...
Hey man, you're the one who made it.
Okay, that was just trying to do an asylum version of Forrest Gump. That's not even...
I'm doing.
I know, so it's like we're not even like focused on what the important topic here, which is Fifth Element and Forrest Gump.
Okay. Define important.
Important for this show.
Oh, okay.
Not for the world.
Got it.
Oh, such a weird combination. Fifth Element and Forrest Gump. So I would think it would be some sort of end-of-the-world prophecy sort of event where your Bruce Willis character is a bumbling soldier who always gets like the dumb duties that people don't want to do because he's always just messing things up. You can't trust him. He's going to Gomer Pyle the shit out of this situation. So he's just cleaning the bathrooms and stuff like that.
Scrubbing the
space toilets.
The space toilets and getting those little tiny aliens that attach themselves to the outside of the ship, and they're all gross and disgusting. He's got to scrape them off like little alien barnacle stuff.
Do you remember that from Fifth Element? Do you remember that part?
There's a part?
Yeah, they're going to the big Paradise ship, and before the ship takes off, they're using flamethrowers to like remove these little parasites that jiggle.
No idea, but I haven't seen that movie in a long time.
Okay, so yeah, he's that sort of character, and maybe it's he's taking a nap in a supply closet on some ship, or he gets stuck in the bathroom. You know, because I could see that being in a comedy thing of like having to, with your pants down, stuck in a bathroom on a spaceship. Yeah. So yeah, he gets kind of just pulled along this crazy space adventure, and obviously becomes the hero at the end. He saves the day through sheer buffoonery.
So almost more like a Idiocracy kind of thing.
Okay. Reverse Idiocracy, because he's the smart one in a dumb world. This would be a dumb guy in a smart world.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, I guess, have we ever seen a sci-fi film where, because typically when, you do a sci-fi film, it's either set in modern day and aliens are attacking and it's like, oh, we got to develop some new technology to beat it, or it's set super far in the future where it just seems sort of everyone is smart. Have we seen a sci-fi film where there's just a character whose whole purpose is to be like
dumb as shit,
dumb, and surrounded by all these people who just know how to operate Star Trek ships and stuff?
Is there an Ernest Goes to Space?
Ooh.
You know?
If there's not, can we reboot the Ernest franchise without that actor whose name I forget right now?
Not Vern Troyer. Oh my god.
Viola Davis.
Yes, that's
Viola
Ernest.
Davis.
What? Jim Varney.
Jim Varney. Yeah. There we
Slinky
go.
Dog. Was it? Did I text you about? Wouldn't it have been great if like Ernest and Pee-wee and Elvira all teamed up for a movie?
Maybe.
That'd be great. Just a road trip.
What would you call that universe? There's the MCU, the DCEU. This is the...
I don't know, because like, what do you call it? Those are characters specific only for these actors. That's who they are. They're not an actor who plays a bunch of different roles. They just play this character. So what is that called? I don't know, I guess they're just characters.
Yeah, let's say the oddball universe, or the...
But that would be great. I want to see like Elvira and Pee Wee Herman like be overtly sexual to each other, like just in a MacGrubery type of way, but they don't mean it. Like, I want them to be completely just friends, but everything they do seems like they're coming on to each other. And I could see Ernest being in the backseat because he's a pretty asexual type character too, and I could see him like maybe if Elvira was hitting on him, but he would be so oblivious to all of it. I don't know. I just think those three can make some very good comedy.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to go the opposite way and say I want Elvira and Pee-wee to be totally sexual.
Oh,
just because I want that sex scene of Pee-wee who like it'll like they'll start being together and the camera will cut away and then we'll just be outside of the room and all you hear is and then there's safe words, the secret word.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah,
you know. I'm sorry, the volume on this is going to be ridiculous, but
that's very funny.
I imagine that's the, and I mean you could do it where Elvira is maybe being like hitting on Pee-wee and he's not quite picking up on it because he's a goofball, or maybe he's hitting on her, but he's so weird that she doesn't quite like. They don't really realize that they're hitting on each other, or but then by the end they figure out like, oh, you liked me this whole time? Yeah, of course I liked you. Oh, I couldn't tell because we're both awkward.
Yeah,
and then they just smash guts. I
love it.
They'll do it in Pee-wee's Playhouse, and all the furniture like just starts covering their eyes. Like, oh my god, what am I seeing?
He's inviting her in, and it just seems like a normal thing, and they're like getting frisky on the chair, but it's Cherry, and like her eyes are looking around.
Does this count as a threesome?
Like, Pee-wee, what are you doing?
Oh, I can see that. We're gonna have to cut all this because this is just gonna.
Are we? I think this is better than Fifth Element Forrest Gump. That's for sure.
I don't know. There's a lot you could do with Pee-wee's Playhouse and their sexual encounters, but it's a missed opportunity. But also, these people are 70 years old at this point.
Yeah, you couldn't do
dead.
it now. You would have to do it back in time, and it seemed like they all existed close to each other. Why didn't nobody put them together? Like, you could even throw them, because I imagine them on a road trip. You know, they have to go do the thing, whatever it is, and you would be able to put them through these crazy adventures and run into other characters like Cheech and Chong or something. You know, they just pull over and they give them a ride somewhere. Cheech and Chong get all three of them, you know, stoned, and then we get to see what's Pee-wee like when he's stoned, and they're sitting around a campfire just goofing around.
I see this is a Pee-wee movie with all these characters joined in.
Sure.
I think that would be how you would do that, because aren't all the Pee-wee movies him kind of going on this long cross-country adventure?
No.
Really?
No, some of them are. He just is in his local town.
No, okay, fair enough. What was Ernest an 80s thing, or was it an early 90s thing, or was it a late 80s into
I think
early
it's
90s?
late 80s, early 90s when at least it comes to the movies. Maybe even early 80s to early 90s.
Really?
Because there's a lot of Ernest movies. You'd be surprised.
Yeah, I remember I think Ernest Goes to Camp.
Yeah.
And maybe Ernest Hard Nights or whatever it was called, or Halloween Ernest or whatever the fuck it was called.
Ernest at the Roxbury. It was Ernest Scared Stupid.
Yeah, I think I had those.
Those
two.
are like the two big ones.
Yeah, I think I remember as a kid liking them, and then once I became a teenager, I tried watching them again. And I was beginning to understand what was good and what wasn't. I was like, oh, this is not good stuff.
But I wonder what it would be like to revisit it again, because I haven't seen an Ernest anything in years, and probably only seen any of the movies just once. But I wouldn't mind doing an Ernest marathon, or would you get like 3 in and just be like, I can't fucking stand this character
if I hear
anymore.
the word Vern anymore.
Ew. Yeah, I remember him a lot more from commercials. I can't remember what they were for, but he'd always be just talking to the camera as if he's talking to Vern, and he was selling something, but I don't know what.
Cocaine?
Yeah, on TV. Yeah, they had ads for that.
The 80s were a crazy time.
Okay, so, yeah, the obvious easy one is you put Forrest Gump in Fifth Element, you make him the Corbin Dallas character, give him the sexy savior of humanity, either as a Fifth Element sort of weapon, or maybe she's in the military as well, his commander, whatever it is. But how do you do it the opposite way? How do you get Fifth Element into Forrest Gump? Turn it around. What is that movie?
Well, I think the easiest thing to do is you can... If you want to be super lazy about it, you still have pretty much the entirety of Forrest Gump intact. You just make Forrest Gump an alien. But society doesn't really realize he's an alien, so that's kind of why he... Okay. Maybe that's why he walks weird, because his legs actually go the other way.
But he has to walk funny to look like a human. He has to wear those
braces to sort of make him more human. Or... however you want to do. He just has alien legs, and that's why he has the braces until he learns how to properly function in that way. And maybe on his home planet he is smart and a genius, but maybe Earth's bacteria or whatever, any sort of reason has made him dumb.
Yeah, and our oxygen gets him high, so he's just kind of like a dumb idiot.
Yeah, he's just constantly a dumb idiot. And it's, him going on these adventures and meeting these people, and maybe Jenny is kind of his handler or something like that, where...
See, I think
I don't know if you would do that, but
it could be kind of fun if you do an alien landed, like say it was the Roswell alien, and you do a Forrest Gump with an alien, but everybody knows. So you see him on the talk shows, and you insert him into Johnny Carr's late show and meeting the president and stuff like that. You do all the things that Forrest Gump did, but you just put an alien in there. And then how did society change by just having an alien as the biggest celebrity in the world, and running away from it and trying to find love and trying to find how to fit in when you're just an alien. But I also really like your idea of him like trying to keep it secret. And
I mean, at least at first.
Maybe at first. And being in these big situations where, he does meet the president, and maybe he thinks like, haha, this is my chance to like shoot the president of the United States and then we can invade. But he loves the celebrity so much or whatever that he's just happy to be there.
Yeah, or I guess you could do it where I said Jenny was his handler, but I guess it would make more sense for Forrest's mom to be his co-pilot or whatever from the spaceship that crashed, and maybe it crashed in Mississippi.
It's the computer navigation program from the ship, like as a robot. I think that'd be fun.
There you go.
I don't know why, but I think that'd be fun.
But I mean, I guess in the Forrest Gump movie, his mom has sex with like a lot of people.
At least one we know of.
Well, yeah, okay, fair enough. But maybe you sort of do something with that where whether she's an alien or a robot, kind of falls in love with human society, and maybe this baby was sent here to destroy Earth, but the baby doesn't know that when it arrives, and it's up to the program to do that, but the program learned to love humanity and then thus raise this alien to fit in with the society, and then that's where you go from there. And then maybe he finds out at some point in the movie, maybe he goes to war and sees his best friend die and his captain, Lieutenant Dan, lose his legs, and it's like, oh, like humans are terrible, it's like maybe I should try and take over the Earth or destroy everyone. But at the same time, like, he falls in love with Jenny, and so he's struggling with that. and you just have this, what should I do as someone who's an outsider? If everyone knows what I really am, will I be accepted, or whether they kill me, and should I just stay in hiding and not be who I really am, or do I come out? And now it's an allegory for being gay. I don't know.
Or an immigrant.
Or an immigrant, yeah.
Yeah,
all that interesting stuff. So I think that's kind of where you can go with that. Okay. And then...
What about, the 4 elements? Do they factor in any way? Does the alien have the powers to control that, or it's a resource thing?
Well, I think we're... All right, so what's the main things? So there's a prophecy... There's sci-fi. What's the big points of Fifth Element? Because I just remember being weird as shit.
Yeah, I don't know. Does it have a message? Is it at the end? It does get a little heavy-handed with why should I save the world when all you do is do wars and stuff like that? But I mean, she eventually does it. I think her thing is the whole reason to do it is because of love. One of those Last Jedi sort of dumb bullshit endings. Okay. I'll save the world because love is super cool.
Well, what if there's a second spaceship that comes, but he doesn't know that, and it turns out Jenny is an alien the whole time, and he's
same type of alien?
Yeah, I would think.
Okay.
And they were kind of sent there together to...
they both grew up together. And one knew the plan and one didn't?
Yeah. And so she didn't know he would... Because
they don't know they're the aliens.
They don't know they're the aliens. Yeah. They just crash in the same place, and they didn't quite figure it out, because that's why they would grow up together.
That'd be funny to see an alien trying to be a human in front of another alien trying to be a human. And it's they're like, oh man, I'm totally killing it, but they're both bad, but they don't know.
Yeah, and that would be kind of the cute thing about it. It would be in the beginning, because you would think that only one of them was human. You go they're perfect for each other. I'm rooting for this relationship, because she's just as awkward for him.
Yeah.
But secretly... They're perfect for each other because they're both aliens. Yeah. And I think that could be kind of fun.
Okay.
So, but she's weird, but she wants to destroy... She wants to stick to the plan. And he wants to... He just learned to love Earth or whatever. So you get to the end, and that's where the prophecy thing can come in, and the elements, and maybe she has powers and he has powers, and their powers can either complement each other and negate each other, or they have the same. You can work that out in the...
Or maybe there's 4 aliens, and each one represents a different element in some way. Whatever it is.
Or, she has her dad, he's got an element, he's got his mom, whatever. Who cares? In the end, but through the power of love, just like in Fifth Element, in prophecy, and using these powers, they decide... because they love each other, not to destroy something and to live together on Earth. And maybe they do stay in hiding, or maybe the only people who do know is Lieutenant Dan character, who is sort of his human go-between their world, and he shows them the ropes and invests in their company, and he starts Google. They have all this super advanced technology, so that's how they're able to, create computers or whatever.
And maybe it's not I could see, because Lieutenant Dan's almost like a homeless person by the midpoint of his story. What if the alien kind of befriends the local crazy homeless guy, and just because he's the only person he can tell about his alien problems, because no one's going to listen to this dude because everyone thinks he's crazy, but maybe he helps him and helps him recover, stop his addiction, something, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, whether you have your Forrest character either go to the war and meet this character who loses his legs and becomes a crazy homeless dude, or just becomes friends with a homeless dude, you can have that character who is the human who you can tell his secrets to, because they'll just go, oh, everything this guy says is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I think if you had him go to the war, that would show human society and the worst parts of it and everything, and maybe he reveals his identity to his Bubba friend, or maybe he pops out of his human skin to kill the Vietnamese enemy,
he has to reveal himself
to save him, and Bubba's accepting of him because maybe this alien reminds him of a shrimp kind of alien, and it's there's so many ways you can make shrimp.
That'd be funny.
But anyway, but then Bubba dies, and that makes him very sad, but Lieutenant Dan is also someone who knows his secret, and it was just that camaraderie. It's hey man, you saved all of our asses in the war. I don't care who you are. Like, you took care of us.
Yeah.
I'll keep your secret kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you just do something with that. I think there's a lot of fun there putting an alien in a Forrest movie versus Forrest in an alien movie. Because then it's just dumb guy in space.
Yeah.
Which can lend itself to some comedy.
Sure.
But I don't think there's much of a story there.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Unless you really work it out.
I'm surprised that it works better the other way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess it's easier to see the first way, and you really got to kind of work at the second way.
Yeah, because I think if you do dumb guy in space, which like I said, I think could be fun, and it does lend itself to infinite possibilities, because any situation you want, you can, okay, well, let's just invent this thing that doesn't exist, and we can write it out that way. But also because there's infinite possibilities, it's like, I don't even know where to begin with the story.
And this one, you really have to get, like, we're putting it in America's history, so you really have to go through the years and know what happened and work that character into these things without totally unmaking the real history of our country.
And in Forrest Gump, he was obsessed with Dr. Pepper. You could do something like that, where that was the first drink he had when he came to Earth or something, and he just became obsessed with that drink. Or maybe it helps, it's kind of like his potion to sort of keep it, maybe the sugar or something.
Yeah, the physiology of it does something to him.
And that's why he can drink so many of them too, because it just helps his body circulate human goop. I don't really know. But you could do something fun with that.
Or even if it was something like he loved, but it, like, since he's either in a suit or a shapeshifter or whatever, it negates his powers or whatever, so he's in a very sticky situation about to meet the president, and he's drinking his Dr. Pepper, and like
his antenna pops
out and he starts changing colors, and there's some fun comedy stuff you can do there.
Oh yeah, that's what it is. His antenna or something is about to pop out of his head, or he can feel something slipping out, and he's just like, I got shot in the ass, and he, like, in order to, like, cover up his head, he, like, bends down and shows the president his ass, and then by that point it goes back in. Oh, god damn it, Dr. Pepper. Yeah, it could be a bad thing for him. It's just he can't help himself because he loves
it
the
so
taste
much.
of it.
And when he's at home, he's just pounding it, and who cares if his antenna's sticking up?
Yeah.
All right, so what are we calling this?
Hang on. Galactic Dump. I mean, there's no reason to try and do it like the opposite of Jungle. You just gotta
Jungle Plump. You create a new title. You don't try to go like, the elemental forest.
Yeah.
No, you don't need to do anything.
I mean, Gump could be an alien name, but Forest, you just... So it's a fish out of water story with an alien set in American history. American History X-Files.
That's a friggin' Wheel of Fortune puzzle. American History X-Files. That's, like, clever, though.
Yeah.
You can't call it that, really.
Thank you.
But that's like you're in the right lane. I guess without, like, knowing his race, his people, his motivations and stuff, it's hard to try to do a fun play on words, but...
I mean, it'd be like a really lame 80s title, where it'd be something Alien in America, or...
American Immigrant.
You do, I can see the poster where you just call the movie UFO. Well, I know that's unidentified flying object, but it's also kind of... You know, you use that term and you think of alien, so I see the poster of him in his human form, but maybe there's, his two green antenna coming out of his head, and he's holding an American flag, and it says USA, but the SA is, crossed out, and it just says FO.
like spray painted over it?
Yeah, spray painted over it. That's how I see the poster. And the tagline is...
There's something strange in the neighborhood.
The space race is coming to Earth. And because, it might be set around that time of the international space race. Yeah. And Forrest likes to run, and so does this alien. So space race.
this race is about to cross the finish line, and because it's like space race, he's a different race from outer space, and race is running. I don't know, there's something there. It's like on the tip of my brain.
Although I do like the idea of this race is about to finish, but the race ends in Finland.
That's funny.
I think that'd be funny. Like,
if his whole thing is like to kill the human race, and the tagline is like, this race is about to end.
Oh, yeah, there's something there.
Yeah.
Fuck it, call it Space Race for now.
Space Race.
Space Race is what we got so far. If you can think of a better title, please send us a message on Twitter.
Yeah.
At WRPL Podcast.
That's correct. Okay, well, something there. Not bad. The moment we both said our things, it was just like, ugh, this ain't working. But no, I like that better than our some of our last episode stuff.
Yeah, I'd watch that movie. I mean, I feel the idea that an alien coming to Earth and being a fish out of water story has been done so many times, but I think this way it could be slightly different and kind of fun.
Mm-hmm. I think, and like Alan Tudyk has a show on Sci-Fi right now called like Resident Alien, and it's like him as an alien in Alaska, but he's pretending to be a human doctor.
Was it the Not Christopher Lloyd. Christopher Lloyd? Who's the Back to the Future guy?
Christopher Lloyd.
Christopher Lloyd, yeah. He was My Favorite Martian. Was that movie?
Yeah.
What was that about?
I guess there's a Martian, and someone really liked him over other Martians.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to say.
Because I remember seeing that movie as a kid, but I don't remember.
I can see the cover.
Yeah.
And just going like, oof.
It was one of those things I always remember seeing at Blockbuster, I think. Yeah, that cover.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's do another. All right.
Need to.
Fuck it. I'm just gonna do it.
Okay, hang on. I need to pick a new director.
No,
I know.
Oh, because you want to use that movie?
I just have a hard time thinking of the infinite movies, so it's like I'm just gonna pick a random director and go, okay, I'm picking something from that.
Uwe Boll.
Oh, okay. We'll see how this goes.
Okay. Ooh, so you're a little.
This could either go really bad or really good.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
All right. 1, 2, 3. Pet Sematary.
It's gonna go really bad.
Wow. Okay.
Pet Sematary and Boogie Nights.
I kind of love it, but I don't know what it is.
Whatever it is, it's gonna be some dark and appropriate jokes coming. So.
Yeah, dead animals and porn. Oof.
I mean, yeah, this one's hard because we won't do a movie where people fuck animals.
No, but it would be we were shooting a porn scene and it got a little wild, and then I donkey punched her and she died. So then we had to bury her in the backwoods, but it just so happened we were in a pet cemetery. So now she's back, and this hot bod is a stone cold killer. Something. And then she goes and starts killing people.
I guess. Have they done? I mean, obviously, porn has done everything.
Yeah.
So there's definitely zombie porns out there.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that would be sort of what you'd lean into, but I mean, I think if you did it in a serious way, because I think if the easy thing to do would be like, okay, make this a comedy because zombies and porn, like that's just silly.
Yeah.
But what if you made like a serious, scary movie? It just happens to be with porn and the undead coming back. I think you could do some cool scares on a porn film set. Although I don't know how much of a... I mean, if you wanted... Oh, like... Okay. I got it.
Okay.
No, I think I did. So, you have these sleazy directors making a porn movie. They're really big fans of horror films. It's kind of like Scream, and they want to capture like all the cliches of horror and everything.
Meta porn.
Yeah, meta porn. And they have this bright newcomer to the scene, newly 18 or whatever, and she doesn't know the business. It's her first shoot, and they're like, okay, we got this chick, and we're gonna bring her to this really scary house that we hear is haunted and all this stuff. And they go there and film the porn, and she's having a terrible time. They're really creepy. Like, it lends some horror elements there because you just have these dudes who are just clearly sinister, and our co-star who like maybe seems kind of nice, but then it turns out he's also maybe the porn director is like they finish the scene, and she's like, okay, that was like a pleasant enough experience. Like, I'm just happy it's over. I can go home now. But they did like, don't let her leave. They're like, well, now that you had him, it's our turn. And maybe she's like, they're trying to get at her, and she's running away, and she sees the porn actor dude, and she's like, you gotta help me. And it's like, hey, baby, I just get paid to fuck, and that's it. And then he doesn't like help her at all, and so even though you thought he was a nice guy in the beginning, he actually turns out to be kind of
just the business. Toots, get used to it.
Bad things happen. She ends up dead, and we gotta bury this fucking chick. Like, oh, no one's gonna go digging in this old haunted house when they bury her in the backyard or somewhere
Basement.
in the wood, wherever there's the pet cemetery aspect of it.
Sure.
And then, you know, it's the Indian burial ground, because that's the story of Pet Cemetery, right? It's an Indian burial ground thing.
I'm not sure. Probably. I know that's a poltergeist thing.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
But I'm sure it's something like that. Or
there's a cult there.
It was an Indian ground, and then there was a massacre, and now it's dead.
Yeah, it was a cult thing,
sure.
And they all drank the poison and killed themselves at this house. And
satanic ritual, something, and witches.
That's why the directors wanted to use it, because they thought, oh, this would be good. We can use the dramaticness of it, and a recreation of the cult porn thing. I don't know.
Okay.
Because it's a cult. They fuck each other in there, too.
Yeah.
Maybe that's part of the story of the movie is they're doing a telling of the cult. Yeah, I guess it doesn't even have to be a porn thing. Maybe they're just...
Sure, but it is Boogie Nights, so keep it in mind.
So...
Yeah, it's like, hey, we heard this cool story about this house. What if we did the porn version of it? Yeah. Or like, maybe a big movie about that came out, and they're like, hey, it's right down the street, the actual house that the movie's based on. Why don't we do a funny porn version of it? And they, go on with your
anyway,
stuff.
So then she comes back, and then you just go into the full-blown horror aspect of it. And maybe they're at their... It doesn't have to be at their house that they're being haunted. It's just maybe they go to... Maybe it's a year down the line or so, and there's like, oh, we got away with it, no one's... And then creepy stuff just starts happening, and they're going to the next porn, and it's kind of a revenge tale of this chick coming back and killing all the people who were in charge of this production, all the people who like turn a blind eye because it just happens in the business, and like this is a normal thing, and she's trying to just save these other women from suffering the same fate that she did. And I don't really know much about Pet Sematary. I don't know how it ends or anything like that, or maybe it doesn't really have to end in a similar way. It's just okay, this chick comes back and she's just on a revenge spree, kind of a what's that movie, Jane Doe with the corpse.
The Autopsy of Jane Doe.
Movie?
Yeah,
that movie's dope.
Yeah, and this also kind of sounds like a movie called Revenge, where like stripper is paid, and then like they get a little handsy, and we paid you money, we want more, and then they kind of push her off of a cliff, but she survives, and then she goes back on a bloody rampage. It's awesome.
No, but this one has supernatural powers.
Yes. So yeah, I would like that of her kind of like spooking the people who did her wrong and trying to save these other young girls in the industry. Definitely needs to be a little bit of a time jump, and maybe they've used her scene in this movie that they've cobbled together, and it's, the next greatest, most popular porno that has ever existed, and it strikes big, and everyone's just like, well, whatever happened to this star? And like, she showed up, she did her scene, and she left, and I guess, she wasn't really all that interested. So maybe you could even have a character who's a reporter of some sort. It's just like, that's kind of weird that everybody who was in this movie showed up for this premiere, but nobody knows what happens to this other person. And so when people start dying off, he's the person that's going like, oh, I think there's something else going on here.
Yeah, and you can do a thing where you easily explain it where, maybe the guys are getting investigated either by the reporter or by a cop or something. And it's like, look, man, I've been in this business a while. Chicks come in, they do one scene, they don't have a good time. It's just the nature of the business, and they leave, and you never see them again. Maybe she changed her name because people clearly, if this movie got big, it's on the internet. people know who she is. Maybe she changed her name. Maybe she moved to a different country. And then it's just like, I don't know what happened to her. It could have been any number of reasons, or maybe she killed herself. If they find a body, or because she was just so ashamed she was in this thing. Like, they could come up with a million reasons to sort of defend themselves, but they can't defend themselves from the undead.
Yeah. And then I could see at the crime scene, her like fingerprint has shown up. They're like, oh, well, what is this fingerprint? And they run in like, oh, it's the girl from the movie, but she hasn't been around in a whole year. I don't know. Yeah, how do you end this movie? Obviously, she gets her revenge and gets her piece, and that's the end of it.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah. I think it's more the fun part would be coming up with how she kills.
Yeah, and that's with all psycho killer movies.
Yeah.
How cool are the deaths?
So obviously, one of the easy ones would be, so the actor, he's getting ready for his next shot, and they're like, all right, we're gonna send in the girl in a minute, and this is the because it's some horror thing. It's like, all right, we're gonna blindfold you or something, and this is like the torture scene, and then she starts, the zombie version of her starts like torturing him slowly, and he's like, oh no baby, stop. And it's just, he thinks it's like part of the scene, and it's because it's like it's light torture. I don't know the proper word, but just like just using a whip on him, and then it starts getting like harder and harder, and he's like, all right, this isn't funny anymore, and then she's just like peeling flesh off or something, and then pulls the blindfold off, and he realizes it's her, and then she, or maybe she takes there's a big bottle of Viagra, because you got to use those in the sets sometimes to get it going. So she's just like shoving a ton down his throat. Ooh. So he's just like rock fucking hard, and then that's when she does whatever to him, and that's how he dies, tied up and losing his penis.
A Viagra sort of thing where it's like she gives him a pill and he's hard, and it's like holding a tripwire or something, and it's like, you better hold on to this, and then eventually the pill's gonna start wearing off. So he's trying to like
there's no way she would set up an elaborate tripwire scenario as a zombie chick.
I'm just saying it would
she would just have to not be dead and come and do Home Alone shit.
That'd be so funny though. And he's just like trying to think of sexy thoughts to try to stay hard, but he knows like the pill's wearing off, and then
or she just feeds him so many Viagra pills that his penis just explodes. I don't know how that works.
I don't think you watched it with us. You want to hear a really like awful penis death?
I don't, but go ahead.
It was in I Spit on Your Grave 3, the remakes of I Spit on Your Grave, where she's just like on her knees blowing him, and then takes a knife and goes right through it, and then pulls it along the length, and then like peels it like a banana. It's awful. So some of that stuff in this,
I could see it in my mind's eye, and it's the worst thing I've ever.
There's definitely got to be
regret agreeing to that.
Like a someone's trapped and things are going into his butt sort of thing, and bigger, and then gets, split in half.
Be dildo deaths.
Yeah.
And
one where, like, there's lube all over the floor and they can't get traction. They're trying to run away, and she's slowly coming down the hall and just like, fuck, go!
That'd be funny. Yeah, there's a lot you could do.
Yeah. Okay. So that's good. And that's a really good blending of both of them. It's not too heavy on one or another.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. My only concern, I guess, would be tone, because I imagine this movie as a very serious horror film, just happens to be with sort of the porn aspect to it. But I think if you're doing these deaths of... If you do elaborate dildo deaths or lube whatever, is at some point does it just become sort of cartoony just because it's...
Yeah.
Not because it's... What's happening is cartoony, but because... Just the idea of porn and these private things becoming...
It's like there's a movie called Killer Workout, and it's like a 80s gym, and like there's a psycho killer in it, so there's deaths involving the steam room and weight machines and stuff like that. So when you have almost a theme for your deaths, it's almost kind of expected to be a little sillier because you expect every death to involve that. So yes, I can see it coming off as a little silly, but that's
I mean, even if it does, I don't think it'd be a detriment per se. It's just if you're taking it seriously, and then you have this element of the movie that just kind of makes it silly. I don't know how that would really change it. But I like the concepts, and I'd be happy to write this film.
Okay, so what are we calling it?
Well, if we come up with a cool name for the cult that this is based on, that was a sex cult that led to this story, maybe something with that, or you do what we always try and do and come up with a clever pun name.
Yeah. Revenge porn?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Revenge porn.
It kind of has to.
Because, I mean, definitely with porn in the title, it's going to be catching to a lot of people. If you saw that on as your channel serving, you're like, oh shit.
And you think it's just like he showed pictures of me to all of his friends and I'm going to get him back. But it's like, no. It's even more than that.
I mean, I think studios would have a hard time putting porn in the title.
Sure.
I remember when Zack and Miri Made a Porno came out. That was a whole big thing. And that was...
Yeah.
I mean, that was 2008. Yeah. Many moons ago.
Have changed. And I mean, we have movies that have like curse words in it now. So.
Yeah. And I mean, speaking of movies with animal sex in it, I mean, we did have Clerks 2, which did involve sex with a donkey.
Yep.
I love Clerks 2. Anyway.
Didn't they start Clerks 3 recently?
I believe so. Yeah. I don't know if it's finished, but I think
I'm excited to have Elias back. I wish that actor would have like broke out and made something of himself, because he's the best part of that movie. Elias really adds to their duo. And Rosario Dawson.
Yeah.
I was very surprised like how much I like that relationship, even though I do not buy that. I could buy that they hooked up one time because she was drunk or whatever, but actually into Dante, no way.
Yeah, Dante from the first Clerks, I could buy. Dante in Clerks 2.
Balding and
no offense, you're a very talented actor and I wish you would have done more, but do I buy you with Rosario Dawson? I don't know. No. But I guess a lot of people would have said the same thing about Eric Andre. I wouldn't say that, but everyone was just like, Eric Andre's fucking dating Rosario Dawson.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. We'll cut all this.
All right, revenge porn.
Revenge porn. I like it fits. It makes sense.
Both of our titles, Space Race and Revenge Porn, are just like very standard, known phrases.
Yeah.
So that also can work for its advantage, because people go like, oh, Space Race. Ooh, what is that? Is it about the actual who can get to the moon first, or is it about futuristic spaceships having an actual Indy 5000? Yeah, something like that. So, okay.
Yeah. I mean, part of me feels like these are titles that are the placeholder. Like when they send movies to the theaters under a fake thing, it kind of sounds like those.
Yep.
But as placeholders for movies that we aren't actually making, they're fine.
They're not bad.
So, so I think Revenge Porn and Space Race works pretty well.
Okay. So let's do director versus director. I have mine.
Oh, okay.
All right. 1, 2, 3. Sam Raimi's Spider-Man.
Clint Eastwood's $1 Million Baby.
Oh, okay. I don't know if Clint Eastwood could do a superhero movie. I don't know if he has the eye for sweeping action scenes, and it would be very dull looking.
I think it would be dull looking, but I think you may be underestimating Clint Eastwood. Because I think Clint Eastwood... Now, granted, Westerns back then weren't necessarily action beat after action beat. They were...
Sure.
They could be 2.5 hours long with just, your very quick gunfight. But at the same time, there was also these big gunfights for their time were pretty decent action sequences. And I think someone who has made what is essentially the sort of big movie franchise of superheroes and stuff like then, which is Westerns, if I could see him taking that experience and putting that towards a superhero movie, I think he could do... Like, if you told me Clint Eastwood was directing Logan, I think that's something he could have done. He could have taken this grizzled story of an old man in this Western style and put him in this superhero action sequence, where I think a Sam Raimi $1 Million Baby, I think he could do the story, but I think it'd be kind of boring. Like, it wouldn't be as prestigious as, say, a Clint Eastwood movie. Now, some people don't really love $1 Million Baby anyway, But I'm just saying, as a Best Picture winner, I think Sam Raimi doesn't really have that high caliber Oscar-worthy director's eye in a lot of regards, where I think Clint Eastwood could dumb himself down for not saying superheroes are dumb, but I'm just saying.
Not saying that superheroes are dumb.
I'm just saying I think he can do it with the right material. I don't think Sam Raimi could do a dramatic boxing movie.
I think he could. And now that I'm thinking about it, did we fucking do Sam Raimi Spider-Man already? It feels kind of familiar.
I think he just did Sam Raimi's Evil Dead, maybe.
Oh, did we? I'm looking back.
Well, we said we could pick the same director and do it.
Yeah, I just feel shitty for doing it so quickly.
But I mean, it's topical.
I guess. Yeah, it must have been an early one that I didn't write it down properly.
Whatever.
So when it comes to Sam Raimi doing $1 Million Baby, Sam Raimi did a movie called The Gift with Cate Blanchett and Katie Holmes and Keanu Reeves and Horseface Girl that I don't like. I don't know why I can never remember her name. But
Sarah Jessica Parker?
No, the other one.
Jennifer Garner?
No, the other one.
Julia Roberts?
$1 Million Baby, actually.
Oh, Hilary Swank.
Hilary Swank, yeah. That's funny. Yeah, so it's like he even directed her in The Gift. That's a really, for a psychic ghost murder story, it's a little more grounded and realistic looking. I think he could handle it.
I mean, outside of Spider-Man, has Sam Raimi directed stuff that wasn't horror?
Oz the Great and Powerful, all the Spider-Man,
yeah.
A Simple Plan, Quick and the Dead. You're talking about cowboy movies. Quick and the Dead.
Well, we're talking about a boxing movie.
I know.
I know he can. I know Raimi can direct a.
Yeah, that's everything else is kind of like horror or TV shows or Spider-Man. For the Love of the Game. Darkman. Oh, I forgot about Darkman. So, yeah, he hasn't done as many dramas as Clint Eastwood has. Both of these, it's like they both haven't worked on the other person's type of movie as much. So I think that's what makes this a good director versus director. Because, like, who knows? Who knows what Clint Eastwood could do? Okay, so let's look at...
I mean, Clint Eastwood did direct Oscar-winning Letters from Iwo Jima. Like...
Fuck both those movies. Letters from Iwo Jima and Flags of Our Fathers are awful. Bad movies.
Whatever. The point is he can direct a big budget action sequence, which would be what a Clint Eastwood Spider-Man movie would be.
Yeah, but I mean, shooting is a lot different than swinging around.
But I think
he did Bronco Billy? I love Bronco Billy.
I don't even know what that is.
I don't know what that is either.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Dirty Harry. But it's all gun stuff.
I think he's been in the industry and knows the tricks of the trade long enough. And I think if he was going to take on a Spider-Man movie, he would surround himself with people who know the material and know what would need to be done to create a sequence that he wants. And honestly, I think because we see Clint Eastwood as this grizzled old man who's only done these dark, stoic, brooding characters of tough cowboy type guys, it'd be interesting to see his take on Spider-Man, whether that be him trying to do sort of Spider-Man's quippiness or just go the complete opposite way. It's like, let's see what Spider-Man is if he's not necessarily quippy, but he's the dark stoic. Maybe he does the Spider-Man Venom story.
Maybe. Or he goes, what if Spider-Man was a 90-year-old man and had a threesome with two young women? Let's do that. Oh, wait.
Can we watch
that? I'm going to put that in my movie.
Can we watch The Mule, by the way?
Yeah, like, he had apparently 2 scenes.
Apparently.
Where he has a threesome. Twice. And I wonder if it's the same women. I hope it's 2 other women.
Oh, I hope so, too.
Oh, man. to be in Hollywood, to just go like, damn, I'm old and I look like the Crypt Keeper and stuff, but I'm gonna make these two women fucking kiss all over me. I'm respected.
Can you imagine those two women who probably like never did a Hollywood movie before, and they're like, oh, I heard you got the new Clint Eastwood movie. What'd you do to... Oh, I had a fucking 9-year-old man today. I know you're not actually a fucking 9-year-old man, but honestly, they could be the most tame sex scenes too. Sure. It's like, you might not even see that. They probably just like crawled in the bed and you just knew what happened. But
I'm picturing it's his trailer, bed's in the back, he's laying there, and they come in and they lay next to him as the camera's pulling out, and then like someone closes the little divider.
Yeah, I could see that. But the weirdo fun person in me wants to see just a hardcore Boogie Nights style sex scene with Clint Eastwood.
I want like American Psycho of Clint Eastwood looking at himself in the mirror, like flexing as he's railing these two children who can be his great granddaughters.
What is Dirk Diggler saying to the mirror? I'm a star.
I'm a star. I'm a bright shining star.
Give me that scene, but with a 9-year-old saggy bald.
That's funny. We're talking Boogie Nights and in Spider-Man that James Cameron was gonna make. It was supposed to have like full frontal nudity from Spider-Man and like him talking about fucking Mary Jane, and it's just like all this like extremely adult stuff that's like, no,
weird.
Why would we ever have that? And he wanted Arnold Schwarzenegger as Dr. Octopus. Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oof, bub, oof.
I like you, James Cameron, but yeah, no on that. Okay, so Clint Eastwood's Spider-Man would probably be okay. Sam Raimi's $1 Million Baby, it's really not his type of movie, especially there. It doesn't seem like you can incorporate a little bit of horror into it. If it was something where Sam Raimi can take this boxing movie and she makes a deal with the devil and that's why she's the greatest boxer of all time. Okay. If he was able to inject a little bit of his sensibilities into it, I could see it working, but him shooting that script, I can't see it being anything special.
Yeah, I would just imagine this would be, if he was doing this movie, it'd be something they offered him just a bunch of money to do. I don't really care about the subject matter, so I'm just going to fake my way through this.
Paycheck film.
Yeah, it's a paycheck film. And, I mean, I imagine the same thing would be said to Clint Eastwood.
Probably.
But I feel like Clint Eastwood maybe, if we're talking about at least somewhat younger Clint Eastwood, would care about his reputation, so he would try and make the best film possible. Whereas Clint Eastwood now, I don't think he really cares too much about what he's making. He's just like, fuck it, I'm just going to make movies to make movies. Yeah. No offense to either of these directors, but...
Yeah, I think I want to see Clint Eastwood's Spider-Man just because what does that look like? You know, we generally pick the thing you want to see the most, whether it's the most entertaining or just I gotta know what that looks like, and I think that's what this is.
Even if you look at superhero movies across the board, pretty much, with the exception of certain outliers like Deadpool or whatever, you know, our stuff. Like if you look at any of the X-Men movies and any of the Spider-Man movies that we've got, and any of the DC movies, all of them, even though that they can be completely different in tone and look and everything, they all kind of fit in the same realm. They're not really breaking too much from the formula, where I think a Clint Eastwood one would be so different that it'd be interesting.
Yeah, for sure. It would almost be like if a Martin Scorsese decided to do a superhero movie.
I would love nothing more than a Scorsese superhero movie.
Especially if they... I want to see two things. I want to see Martin Scorsese do the superhero movie he wants to do. He gets to pick the character. Yeah. He gets to do the story. 100%. I want to see that. But I also want to see the Martin Scorsese movie where they give him Avengers and say, you have to make this. Yeah. And he has to do the best that he can with something that he doesn't give a shit about. See how you like it.
But the unfairness with that is, I think every director they've brought... If we're talking about at least the MCU, every director they brought in, I think... Well, yes, has to fit with sort of their vision of where they're going, but also as people who would care about the material and want to make the best thing possible. Where it's just like, if you just give this guy a challenge and be like, we didn't know you don't care, make it... He's probably not going to make it good, and everyone's just going to shit on it. But if you're like, Martin, pick whatever character you want, comb through all these comic books, and then make your superhero movie, I think it'd probably be pretty fucking dope.
Yeah.
because I think over the years he has grown into other genres. We're not even talking about the
wrong directors, wrong movies.
Yeah.
But
anyway, the point is, I think Scorsese could do a great job given a character he would like to make.
Yeah.
The question is, what character would that be?
It would be good for...
We're both saying...
We're saying Clint Eastwood's Spider-Man.
I would very much like to see that.
Yeah, that's a better story. Anything else?
I feel like we should wrap up on something like cooler.
The Death of Bob Saget.
Yeah, shout out to Bob Saget.
Yeah.
If you loved Full House, if you loved America's Funniest Home Videos.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, we also lost Sidney Poitier. I don't know if I'm saying Poitier. Yeah, I'm not sure if I say that right. Who I don't think I've ever actually seen in anything, but icon in the film industry. I wonder what the last thing he did was. But anyway, we lost him too. Betty White.
Yeah.
It's been
it happens in threes.
Yeah.
God damn it. Stop it.
Been quite the little over a week in 2022. I know technically we lost Betty White in 2021, but still.
You might be You're red, white, and blue. Oh, the funniest things you do. Stupid. I mean, you had to reference America. But then the last line is, America, America, this is you. And you just watch all the people in these things, and it's like a self-dig. It's like, look at, oh man, you're an old man that gets bit in the balls by a little dog and falls in a pool at your daughter's wedding.
I wonder if any of those or how many of them were faked.
Oh.
Because, nowadays there's so many fake videos out there. It makes me wonder, okay, there's people who designed these things to try and win money.
Well, my memory's a little foggy. But
okay.
My buddy in one of the many states I lived in, his cousins won, like, the big prize. And I think it was the very first season. The big prize winner were people on a sled going down a hill, and then they go right into, like, the front door of their log cabin. Hilarious. But you can tell they dug out a trench that leads right in. So it's not like this happened. They did this on purpose. And this won. It's totally fake.
Anywho. So what were your favorite types of funniest home videos? Were you a person getting attacked by an animal? Were you an old person falling down?
I mean, the nut shots were always great. I love those. Anything where like a baby gets owned, I like that. Baby gets a pie in its face and starts screaming. Good stuff. Or especially like a little cat like attacks a baby. Or like a baby in a wood chipper. Anything baby oriented, I'm all about that.
The deader the baby, the better.
Yeah, I like crazy things caught on tape more than anything. Like, you wouldn't have believed that this happened unless you had.
Isn't it so wild, the vast escalation from the 90s home video stuff where it was, oh, look how sort of silly this is when someone gets slightly hurt or someone falls down, to the early 2000s where, hi, welcome to Jackass, and I'm going to split my dick open. To now 2010s and 2020s where it's just like, look at my TikTok video of me reacting to a thing.
We record everything, all times, everything's caught on tape.
Where every piece of content is, or 99% of the content is just utter garbage. And it just makes me dumber.
But it's like, well, someone fell on, riding a skateboard, so that's content.
Yeah, I mean, there's that show Ridiculous on MTV.
Ridiculousness.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Ridiculousness. Sorry. Where...
No, I'm sorry. I did it wrong. It's ridiculousness.
Where... I'm basically what I'm trying to say is I'm surprised there isn't a America's Funniest Home Video type of thing, but with just pulled from TikTok videos. If they're
pretty much what it is.
Well, I know that, but I think ridiculousness. No, what? I don't even know. I don't watch the show. Who cares? Cut all this. Cut. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
There's been a couple of iterations of that, but when you're watching it on a TV show, and VHS was really bad with this. They would show the video, and they would do funny voices. They would have like 10 people with their talking head commentary. They'd show it again, and then they'd show it again, they'd show it again. It's like, the nice thing about ridiculousness, most of the time, it's like, you watch it once, boom, say something funny, next video. Say something, next video. And they just really churn them out, where it's like, okay, yes, the porta potty fell over. I don't need 14 different comedians from, the late 80s who are washed up, and then this is the only type of gig they get, and for some reason Tonya Harding's also there. On the 80s, those VHS, like, remember the 80s stuff, like, Tonya Harding would show up and do a Talking Heads segment. It was weird. Okay. Yeah. Anywho, this episode is kind of, like, all over the place.
Yeah, sorry, everybody.
It's dressed like a This Meets That episode, but we're just talking about a little of everything.
Although I do like Revenge Porn. I think that's a pretty good film right there.
Yeah. That one's pretty good.
Yeah, I think that speaks to your, like, two favorite things.
Yeah.
Just horror and...
Boobies?
And boobies, yeah.
That's the next movie. Horror boobies. Like the nipples are eyes, but also its mouth at the same time. Like it would blink and you see eyeballs where the nipples are, and then it would squeeze them and then open up again. There'd be teeth.
Wait, squeeze the nips or squeeze your eyes closed?
The boobs, the nipples would split open and they'd be eyes inside, and they'd like look around. But then when they want to attack, they would close their eyes real tight and then open back up, and there'd be teeth.
Okay.
And so a guy'd be like, "Oh, I'm gonna motorboat this stripper," and then it's just like, "Yep." Yeah, that was bad. Okay, well, that was a fun episode of This Meets That and Director versus Director. I'd say Revenge Porn is probably in our top 5.
Yeah, I mean, how many do we have? 6?
This is episode 8, okay. So we have at least 16.
Maybe episode 10 we rank our
all the movies?
Our This Meets That's, yeah.
Okay, and then maybe we could like pit them against each other.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I know what our top 2...
We know the two best ones.
Yeah.
It's Model Citizen and Mandingo.
Yeah, so. For sure.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert for
yeah. So that was that episode. So I guess we don't have to do that.
Cut.
Okay, well, thanks for joining in. If you want to give us any suggestions for any of our little games we play, you could reach us at WRPL Podcast on Twitter. I'm Ben.
And I'm Steve.
Goodbye, everybody.
If you do elaborate dildo deaths,